Добрий день.
Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joined us. The Media Center of Ukraine Nuclear Inform continues its operation. And today we will end our day with a creative briefing. We will talk about Ukrainian bands' activities during the wars. And we will have the presentation of the legendary Ukrainian rockabilly band Mad Hands, and we have the frontman of this band, Vadym Krasnooky. Good afternoon, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Vadym, let's talk a little bit about the new song, how it was born, and what motivated you to create this song and how you worked on its creation. First of all, I want to emphasize that it's not the first song that emerged during the war, because I don't want to publish the majority of them, because it's something that I feel, but it's not the time to convey everything, all of this to the people. Those are the feelings of hate, of disgruntled. All this time I was trying to understand what I'm trying to convey. What can I tell the people during times like this? I have an experience of Mad Hands songs such as There Is Hope, which are full of optimism, which help people during hard times, and we keep singing them in our shows. And I wanted to say something actual. I was looking for inspiration. I was looking for these positive messages and some key features, something positive that we experience at the same time as we experience something negative. And just the song just started sounding in my head, just a couple of phrases, just one idea of something that I want to tell the world, something that impresses me, something positive that influences me. And it's our people, the way they behave themselves, the way they fight, the way those who don't fight help to those who do fight, and the miracles happening in Ukraine on a daily basis, the miracles made by the Ukrainians. And it's such a lot of these miracles that they are enough for more than one song. But the song is something brief, like 3 minutes, but every word has its weight. It should be true. And with the songs like this, the responsibility is very big. And I wanted to gather all the words to unite them in one song, to find some short message which would express the key point. And then the name of the song is We're Ukrainians, We Can Do Everything. I think that everybody understands what I'm talking about. But then in the song you can see instances and the situations that we will remember for years to come after the war. Is this song made in the style traditional for the band, or is it something else? Well, I told you about the creation of the song as the main melody, and is the idea I worked on by myself. And then other musicians from Mad Hands started coming in, and more people started joining, because we don't do show business now. We don't make money, and whatever we make are the charitable shows to support our military. So it's the self-issue. We don't have management who would have been working. For the time being, the musicians were looking for everything by themselves. We were doing it by ourselves. It's about uniting people. It was symbolic. However, under the conditions we are living in now, even in Kyiv, it's pretty difficult to join for a rehearsal. But still we were doing it, and we were recording our songs in different studios, Like we recorded drums in one studio and bass in the other one, and the guitar in the third one. As to the style, the idea was to remind of the old songs by Mad Hands. We wanted some rock and roll live sound, something recognizable for Mad Hands, so that people who hear this song, they understand whose the message is coming from. And I think we made it to the full extent. They got all the band members, they expressed most of the participation. I like the way the song sounds now, and this is the track that I will send you now, the acoustic version. But today we say that the song is already out. You can hear us at Spotify, YouTube, all these digital platforms that we'll listen to now. The song is already there, and the collaboration, the help of our friends. I want to tell you about Yurko Zhuravel, who's our musical and rock and roll brother. I don't know how many years passed since we know each other. He's the genius artist and a genius good musician. And his genius is not that he's very Ukrainian and patriotic, not that he keeps drawing something during these days of war to tell about the war, to support the spirit of the people in a way that we do it by our songs. I asked him if he can draw a picture for our disc, and this is what we're having now in the screen. And it's something that he sort of sings with this picture, the way the musician thinks with this music. People react marvelously to this picture, and you don't have to explain anything to anybody. We wanted to cheer up everybody, to tell all the Ukrainians how cool they are. Zhuravel made it with his picture. Vadym, I think that now it's about time we proceed to the song. Let's listen to it, and then we'll talk some more.
В лиху годину, в найтяжчі дні, та й заспіваємо веселі пісні. Коли ми разом і знаємо це, ми українці, ми можемо все. Забути чвари, долати страх, до перемоги тільки усміх на вустах. Коли ми разом і знаємо це, ми українці, ми можемо все. Ми українці, ми можемо все. Разом можемо і переможемо клятих ворогів, на нуль помножимо. Разом можемо і переможемо клятих москалів, на нуль помножимо. Знайдемо зброю на ворогів, у нас воює навіть банка огірків. Серця сміливіші й трохи везе. Ми українці, ми можемо все. Як є в нас трактор, то є і танк. По 20 гривень буде байрактар. Коли ми разом і знаємо це, ми українці, ми можемо все. Ми українці, ми можемо все. Разом можемо і переможемо клятих ворогів, на нуль помножимо. Разом можемо і переможемо клятих москалів, на нуль помножимо. На полі бою боги війни За Україну всі об'єднались ми, коли ми разом і знаємо це. Ми українці, ми можемо все. Ми українці, ми можемо все. Ми українці, ми можемо все. Дякую.
Thank you, Vadym. Thank you again. Thank you, Vadym, for this marvelous song. Indeed, we are Ukrainians and we can do everything. Let's talk a little bit about current condition, the artists in Ukraine, the singers in Ukraine during this full-scale invasion ended up. How do you create? What's going on with the shows? What are your plans? In general, about the colleagues, I know that many of them, including one of the band members of Madheads, are in the front lines fighting with the weapons in their heads. Mikhailo Vezushko, while I've been in Canada, he was on vocals in Madheads. He's the pretty well known. He has a new pretty successful project, Molfar, but from the very first day he's in the front lines in some very top secret units, so secret that he never even sent any picture. As well as other my friends musicians, I just wish they all come back alive. And with regard to those who don't have arms in their hands, what we can to the best of our capabilities, let's do everything that we can. I volunteered in the media center of Ukraine a little bit in the information front, and now that all the Madheads members are in Kyiv, we collect funds for the military, and we hit each other with the heat of our hearts. I mean, all the listeners who come to our shows, I feel that people need it. We cannot gather some very big funds during our shows because we cannot gather a stadium. Well, in technical terms, and both in terms of security as well. But nevertheless, in my opinion, it's needed not only for that, but because people just want to gather, they want to see each other and vent off the negative we accumulate inside. We have to hang on, and during the shows there are some very powerful feelings, more powerful than during peacetime. Do you think that the audience coming to your shows is different? Did it change? I think it's the same people, but we all changed inside. I changed, we all went through some serious tribulations, and we suffer losses. For some of them, these are relatives. We all lose something, we all go through something difficult. We go through mornings, we start with the bad news, but we have to move on and do something useful to the best of your capability. Even if there is no power and water supply, you still have to move on, and we have to win. These are the people of Ukraine now, and people coming to the shows are maybe those more active. We all have to hide during the air raid alerts, and in between these alerts, we managed to gather all together. It's cool. It's the power of our people. Like another well-known Ukrainian singer mentioned, we're only halfway, and many things are still ahead of us. And you mentioned that you don't want to share with your audience something that is a little bit sad. Why so? Why do you feel like this? Is time going to come to cry for heroes after the victory. First of all, I don't show all the songs. Not all of them come to some final stage that I can show them if I don't have a feeling that the song should live. If I don't believe in it myself, I think it doesn't make sense singing it to other people, because on the one hand, it's just music is the emotion. You convey something from inside through the song. So in one way or another, it's conveyed in the song when you try to create it. And negative feelings is like, if I had another task to create the song for those who are outside Ukraine, to tell them about the way we're living here now, it would be another mood, and I would allow myself a little bit of aggression to explode the people's brains, so they understand that peace needs to be fought for. But for Ukrainians who are here now, they have enough of this feeling. They need to cheer up. We need to cheer up. And it's difficult to write a lot of songs like this, but I will keep doing this. I will try to keep doing this. And what you mentioned, that after the war, not all of the songs that I make now, I'm not gonna want to sing all of them, and we will have to get ourselves treated and not forget those whom we lost. And it will be a long way to rebuild ourselves emotionally and mentally, and music will help us in this. But now I'm hearing a lot of cool songs from other musicians with different moods, and I don't want to say that they're doing it wrong or something unnecessary, but I look at myself, and I think that it's easier to go through all of this with a smile on your face, smiling into the face of the enemy. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions? We can proceed to Alla Shershen, Ukrinform. Now that the war is raging on, the artists are in difficult and complicated conditions too. They have to feed their families. There are shows and so on. Do you share the idea of Zlata Ognevich that charitable shows should be paid for the artists? And are they paid for the time being? Well, it's very situational. Of course, the musicians want to be fed, and their families want to be fed. So if people were doing only this, in one way or another, they need to look for the sources to find money to feed themselves. So if there is an opportunity, there are different shows. If, say, we go to the military base, so we don't expect any payments for sure. And if some of the tickets are sold, we can transfer part to the support of the armed forces, and another part goes to the musicians. So here's the difference. To some extent, I agree with Zlata, but there are shows that don't bring any profit. We sing as much as we can. We could play more shows if there is a component which could support the musicians, so that they don't run around looking for opportunity to feed them. How about the shows abroad? Are you being invited by, say, Canada, diaspora? And if there are shows like this, how frequently are they being organized? Yes, there are shows organized abroad, and taking into account the fact that a lot of people left Ukraine starting from the beginning of the full-scale invasion. A lot of artists, a lot of Ukrainian artists are there, those who make shows only there, and they gather more money because people have more money abroad, and they have to keep doing this to support people who are there, support them morally, and to gather as much funds as they can. I decided for myself that I'm staying here because somebody needs to stay In fact, I returned from Canada in the beginning of the war. Thank you. I wish you success. Vadym, the Mad Hats as a band, what are the plans? If we can talk about any plans whatsoever today, at least short term. Well, short term plan is I'm going to a rehearsal after our meeting, and if we have electricity, we will rehearse a little bit, and on Friday we're going to Chernobyl. If somebody is watching us from Chernobyl, this Friday we will have a show in Chernobyl, the fine city of Chernobyl. Please wait for Mad Hats. And in the short-term perspective, we plan the shows, but we don't know if they are going to happen. So even if they do happen, we are happy because we're lucky to have made it. We want to make shows even abroad, of course, but when is it going to happen? I have no idea. You said that you make shows for the military. How do the military perceive you? What are the feelings during such shows? I'm convinced they are special to you because they are special indeed. How do you feel during shows like this? The emotions are very powerful. On one hand, the military should be more demure, and this is the way they see them. But on the other hand, our task is to open this emotionality for them. The technical condition of these shows is, so to say, minimalistic, and we learn to do something that we were never doing, like apart from the fact that I can sing by myself with just a guitar in my hand, we set up an acoustic program where some of the members of Mad Hats can arrive so that we can use only one or two microphones or without even getting connected to any control panels, but the emotions are still very powerful because many songs that we sing, they are patriotic. We thank the military for what they do. We tell them what they mean to us, what they mean to Ukraine, for what they do to Ukraine. We remember about the peacetime, and we think about how we will soon sing about being in the sea resort in Yalta. Some of the emotions are difficult and sad and patriotic and upheaval, and something happy. Just folk songs, even it's a weapon in our hands. Vadym, thank you. We're Ukrainians. We can do everything. Nothing to add here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for presenting us with this good mood, not only to us, but I hope to all those who watch us. I want to thank the colleagues for your interest in this subject. The Culture Front keeps operating, and it's necessary for us. Our team prepares the schedule of events for tomorrow. Bear with us. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes.